October 29th, which is coming up this weekend, big weekend. It's going to open up quail and sandhill crane season. Both are very popular around our area, and quail, more specifically in the past few years, just based on population growth, has become a lot more popular. I plan on checking dozens and dozens of quail hunters opening morning on Saturday. Crane, I think it'll pick up more as the cold fronts push in. More of those sandhill crane will migrate, they're migratory game birds, into our area, and then hopefully people have the opportunity to go out there and hunt them.
Okay, and if they need their license, how can they go about it?
Yes, so make sure you have the correct stamps and the correct license for whatever species you're hunting. Let's focus on sandhill crane for a moment. Sandhill crane, you'll need your basic hunting license, and you'll want to add a few stamps. One being the migratory game bird stamp, another one being the HIP certification, and third, which you can only get at our office or by purchasing it online, it's a sandhill crane stamp. It's free, but if you do it online, you have to pay for postage, or you can just swing by our office and pick it up. It's a free stamp. Quail is a little different. It's an upland game bird, not a migratory game bird, so you'll need that same basic hunting license, but then you'll want to add on the upland game bird stamp for the quail. Also, if hunter education applies to you, and that's anyone born on or after September 2nd, 1971, you'll need to have hunter education certification on you at the time you're hunting. But look up what you want to hunt, follow the rules and regs, and then get out there and enjoy it. I know we talked about public hunting lands, this past week. Yes. There are areas to hunt quail and sandhill crane for the first time in our area within a good driving distance of Lubbock.
Okay, and how's the wet weather? I know it affected dove season a bit, right?
Yes, it's affecting this season as well. Right now, it's really warm. So those sandhill crane aren't as high in numbers right now just because there hasn't been a strong cold front to push through. Once there's a strong cold front, they'll ride that wave like an ocean wave into our area, and then they'll stick around while it's nice and cold. So as soon as it gets a little cooler, they'll pick up in numbers.
So maybe this is even more of a reason why we need someone like Vivian to call.
Yes. That's
call for the cranes.
That's right. That's why I passed it on to her for that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So good to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You have a really incredible story. Can you please talk to us a little bit? This started when you were young, when you were a little girl and hanging out with your family.
Well, I grew up in Bailey County. Mm-hmm. We were east of the Wildlife Refuge south of Muleshoe, and my dad farmed and my grandfather farmed out there, and we were able to see the birds moving around. They would come in with these cold fronts and stay for the winter, and we got to witness firsthand how they flew, their flight patterns, and we would lay on the trampoline and watch them fly overhead. My dad would tell us, to call to them. He would show us how he would try to call to them. And so my sisters and I would lay there and try to get them to respond to us and see if we could make them circle. Mm-hmm. Because you've got a lead bird, and they're all calling, and they're following in a V. And if you can get that lead bird to turn back and kind of swirl around, then they all turn. And it was kind of neat, getting a response from about 15 or 20 birds in a V, and just watching them and knowing that they were communicating with you.
Yes.
We also had a horse, and she was really large and white, and I got to where I would ride her, especially on the weekends, and I could lay down on her back, and the crane really didn't pay attention to the animal.
Okay, so you
and
could sneak
I could
up.
walk her almost up to them.
That's
and just
incredible.
laying flat on her back. And it was fun for me to get to watch them interact with each other because they were totally oblivious to a human being there. They just saw this as another animal.
Oh my goodness. And now when you were on her back, I suppose you didn't have to be as loud, but you not only have to be able to make this sound, but I suppose you have to really project.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Wow. Well, can we get a little sample of what
Sure.
what this crane call sounds like?
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
Wow. That uses some sort of vocal cord. I can't.
It does. Sometimes when I'm outside, I really project it loudly so that they can hear it very well. And that's probably how I got to be assistant drum major. Because you had to be able to yell really loud.
So now you had other brothers and sisters that were...
3 sisters. Mm-hmm. Yes. And we would all, play with this sound and try our hand at it.
So do you still go outside and call to the cranes?
I do. My neighbors near Frankfurt and 98th probably wonder what in the world that sound is. But sometimes I can't resist. If I hear them and they're overhead, I have to try to call them. So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Have you used it with hunting?
My husband and I used to hunt years ago in deep South Texas, and we tried it some there. Even geese will respond to that because geese and crane do tend to travel together when they migrate. And so a goose can hear the sound of the crane, and I guess it gives them kind of a comfort level.
Okay. Wow. Good to
So.
know. So we want to save like a little recording of you with the crane call. Do you know if it works on a recording? Like if it would carry over? I don't know. If that
I don't know.
would work as well as it does live.
And you cannot, well, it might, but you cannot hunt with that sound because hunters are not allowed to use, what do you call it, a manufactured electronic sound. They cannot use a call. Like you have, say, an elk call. You hear elk hunters calling elk. That's allowed. You hear a duck call, but
You can't use a crane call.
No electronic
No
calls
electronic.
as migratory game birds.
And you can't ride in a vehicle and chase them either, right?
Correct. Yes, that's dealing with migratory game birds. You can't utilize electronic calls to call them in, or utilize a watercraft or a motor-driven vehicle, ATV, UTV, razors, pickup trucks. So it's not sporting. It takes that sporting aspect out of it. And remember, these are migratory game birds, so they go from state to state to state. So if you didn't have this federal regulation, which it is, and then we adopt it as a state, you could have another state just really decimating that resource before another state would have the chance to even hunt the resource. So it's all about protecting the population. So that goes into that with the electronic crane call, which is why she's good at it. It'll get them to come look at you and maybe come close enough to harvest them.
Aw. Well, thank you so much both for being here.
You're welcome.
Really great to talk to you.
thank you.
All right. Really enjoyed. Thank you.